both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And that was the extent of it. And that was in 2004.
Yes, Democrat Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, Kamala's running mate. Sounds like he's coming home from some pretty tough duty. You know, it wasn't always easy to get the dinner reservations you wanted in Italy. And not all the women there are as friendly as you might like. Tough duty in Italy, huh, Tim? In support of. From time zones away. Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom, OEF and OIF. Minnesota National Guard, he recalls being on the tarmac at Bagram, and it was he wasn't there in uniform. He was allegedly there as a member of Congress on a congressional delegation, but let's not confuse the two. Oh, wait a minute. He deliberately, knowingly, in the transcript, confused the two and continues to apparently deliberately confuse the two. Isn't that amazing stuff? Yes, it is. And let's not forget, while he's talking about banning AR-15 style rifles, he talks about the weapons of war that I carried in war. That's what he said. He's not a truth-telling person. He's a lying person, but he's a Democrat politician, and he's working his way up. You know, member of the House of Representatives, then the governor, now vice presidential candidate, and running mate to the current vice president, who's never done anything, going back at least to Willie Brown. And remarkable stuff. It is good to be a Democrat, isn't it? Because if you're a Republican, you might be called on this stuff. Everybody would be called on this. There'd be a feeding frenzy. It would be the piranha tank. It would be a bloodbath, to borrow a phrase. And remarkable stuff that they got away with, isn't it? Isn't it amazing? Tim Walz, not a truth-telling guy.
And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Woo! I love it. They always clap and they woo. Somebody always woos. They say woo. Democrats, when they hear lies, they love being lied to. If you're married to a Democrat, they're cheating on you, all right? And they're cheating on you, and if they can, if anybody will have them, and could be the heavy lift right there. Pretty remarkable stuff. And keep in mind that on September 11th of 2021, the 20th anniversary of the attacks of September 11th, 2001, he talked about how he served in the National Guard, and in Italy had survivor's guilt. He survived all that delicious pasta and the Mediterranean salads and the seafood.
I had the privilege of serving in this state's National Guard, and when I left, I had a 2-year-old. When I came home, I had a 3-year-old. But as I listened to Jill and I listened to Mariah, the guilt, I came home, and my daughter went on.
Yeah.
And when you're 2 and 3, she knew no difference.
You know,
that's not true for some.
When you're stationed in Italy, a lot of people crash on Vespas. It can be, it's almost as bad as vacationing in Bermuda when it comes to Vespas, you know, the scooters. It's Italian for wasp, because they buzz around. And, it's very dangerous driving. The duty in Italy can be tough. You can put on a lot of weight because of all that pasta and all that delicious food. And you might get a Vespa to buzz around in Rome and Napoli and wherever you are. Wonderful stuff. And he's got survivor's guilt. He survived the Mediterranean diet.
I stood one night in the dark of night on the tarmac at Bagram and watched a military ramp ceremony. And if you've seen it, which these folks, many have, unfortunately, you don't leave the same. And it makes you wonder, what are we doing? What are we trying to get to?
He now claims that he witnessed that ramp ceremony at Bagram, the air base not in Iraq, as the transcript says, but in Afghanistan, as any school child knows. While he was a member of Congress, he allegedly witnessed this ramp ceremony, but he led into it by talking about his service in the Minnesota National Guard. Isn't that remarkable? Yes, it is. And Tim Walz talking about, because, he served in the Minnesota National Guard. He did deploy to Italy for a little while, which generally, since World War II hasn't really been considered to be hardship duty.
Both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And that was the extent of it. That was in 2004.
Yeah, in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, from Italy, which is pretty nice. That's, I don't know about you, but I like Italy a lot. You got, it's full of Italians and Italian food and coastline all the way around. It's beautiful. You got nice seas to go swimming in. Best food in the world. Let's face it. No country has better food than Italy. Many countries have good food, but better than Italy. That's a pretty heavy lift, I think. Just amazing, amazing stuff. Now, J.D. Vance went on CNN. He was on with Dana Bash yesterday. He went on several different Sunday morning shows, J.D. Vance did. Kamala Harris did not. Why would she? She's, she's already getting all the massages she wants from the news media on the airplane on Air Force Two. They got two reporters on their knees, one each for each foot, and I'm going like this with my thumbs now, giving her, arch massages under her feet, and then you got another one standing behind her, I'm doing the shoulder massage now with my hands, and giving her the shoulder massage, make sure she's relaxed, and they want to make sure she feels good and feels at home. But she doesn't go on any of the Sunday morning talk shows. J.D. Vance, on the other hand, did go on Sunday morning talk shows, including CNN, with Dana Bash.
Well, of course, Dana, I honor his service, and I've never criticized what Tim Walz did when he was in the military. I criticized his retirement decision, and most importantly, Dana, I criticized his lying about his own record, okay? This is a guy who was captured on video saying, I carried a gun in war. He never went to war. This is a guy who's been captured on video. As other people say, he's an Afghanistan veteran. He's a veteran of a war, nodding along in agreement instead of saying, no, I did serve my country and I did it honorably, but I never went to a war zone. I'm not criticizing Tim Walz's service. I'm criticizing the fact that he lied about his service for political gain, Dana. Now, I served in the United States Marine Corps, and you know this. And look, there are a lot of things that I'm proud about. I've never lied about what I did or overstated it because it would be beneficial to me in an election. I think that's what Tim Walz did. That's what I was criticizing. And yes, I do think it's scandalous behavior.
And in fact, right at this very moment, his Wikipedia page declares his rank to be Command Sergeant Major. That is false. It lists his unit, the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery Regiment, and battles/wars, war in Afghanistan. Operation Enduring Freedom. Now, he did not serve in Afghanistan. That is still on his Wikipedia page. That is not true. That is false. Nuh-uh. I am telling you. Can I just say, isn't that amazing? J.D. Vance, on the other hand, he speaks very well. He doesn't lie. And if he did, then he should be called on it. And he would be called on it by every rabid tick of a Washington reporter who is really a Democrat shill, a fluffer. There's not enough chapstick in Washington to keep up. Now, Kamala Harris, she's a plagiarist. She's a flip-flopper. She is not a truth teller. She lies. President Trump, you may recall, has been advocating for kind of a revolutionary new thing, and that is no taxes, no federal income taxes on income earned by tips. So if you're a waiter at a fabulous restaurant and you make good waiters in Washington, D.C. at fancy restaurants make six figures, make $100,000 a year and more, and you don't make most of it off of your your salaried income. You make most of it off of your tipped income. It's also true, coincidentally, in Nevada, for example, where you have casinos and hotels and restaurants everywhere, and everybody there spend, baby. Like, I got a cardboard belt, but they're spending like crazy. And you make your money off of tips. You work in casinos, you're a croupier or you're a blackjack dealer, and big winners throw you a chip here and there, and that becomes a big part of your income. And Nevada, a key swing state. So President Trump has been advocating this for some time. And then Kamala, over the weekend, suddenly decided after learning that a key union is in favor of Trump's position. Also, did you see Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat Congresswoman, Army veteran, Iraq veteran, unlike Tim Walz. She's on the terror watch list. The Biden administration she stopped singing from the Democrat Party's sheet music, and now she's on the terrorist watch list. And everywhere she goes, if she's flying commercial and so on, just amazing stuff. They're grabbing Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat member of the House of Representatives, right, from Hawaii, and a decorated military veteran who actually went to Iraq. Isn't that amazing? But here's Kamala, because Kamala is now in favor of, after a union told her, oh, you've got to adopt the Trump position because Trump is completely right when it comes to no federal income tax on tipped income, And a union told her this would be a good idea. So bam, suddenly she's Trump. It's plagiarism, among other things.
The Culinary Union, as everyone in Nevada knows, they have helped lead the way in our country for workers' rights and workers' dignity.
Workers. Woo, dignity. You just paid off this pimp.
And I have to say, for years, I've been so proud to work by your side. It is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America.
How are you going to do that?
Including to raise the minimum wage.
We're going to raise the minimum wage.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Oh, wait a minute. The Culinary Union told her to do what Trump is doing. So now, and the crowd bust in, union members. They went wild. They went absolutely crazy about that. They love Trump's idea. They love the Trump platform. So she plagiarized it, and CNN is very excited. Harris endorses eliminating taxes on tips. And that's the headline at CNN. First proposed by Trump. First proposed? You mean a Trump policy that nobody had ever heard of before until a couple of months ago when President Trump started promoting it. Now the Culinary Workers Union, they say they're in favor of it. So she immediately bows to the union, and they throw money at her, so they're buying her affections. I know, you're thinking Willie Brown again. I know what you're thinking. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology, and Oxy technology helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of different viruses and odors and mold spores and a lot more in the air, in your home, in your office. Thousands of 5-star reviews online. You know, it works like a champ. We've got 2 of them at home ourselves. Any smell will vanish in just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Put it in your teenager's room. Give it to the college kids. Give it to grandma. It's wonderful. Odors from litter boxes and trash cans, cigarette smoke, dirty diapers, even leftist protesters. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier. You know, the powerful thunderstorm sends out these O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy odors. These molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And best of all, no filters to buy and replace over and over again like a lot of air filters, saving you money and hassle. Right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units units for under $200. You can put one in the basement, bedroom, come on, your teenager's room, your kitchen, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHRIS3, Chris and the number 3, to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been saying for years it's good to be a Democrat. This is why, because they lie about everything, and the news media loves it. They can't wait to get naked with them in that hot tub and lie to each other. They love lying to each other.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Let's take another phone call. President Trump obviously brought up and proposed no taxes on tipped income. The left-wing radicals running this corrupt Nevada union got to Kamala Harris. She is corrupt enough to accept whatever offer comes along. Now, Trump's proposal is her proposal, just like along the border and I'm sure the economy and now fracking, she's in favor. They lie and they lie and they lie, and then they come back and they lie again. And if she were to win, God forbid, all of this will just turn out to have been, none of it will happen. Just like everything else they promise. They keep saying, going to put Roe v. Wade into law when they've got the House, the Senate, and the White House, which they've had again and again and again, and they've never done that. Why is that, ladies? Let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Jim calling from Naperville, Illinois. James, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. It just drives me nuts when you have these corrupt unions that control these people. Their membership, I don't think, is completely on board with the way that these union leaders vote or endorse. Uh-huh. And unfortunately, they don't knock them out. This Culinary Workers Union, you got to go to their website and see what they're all about. They're all about bringing in immigrants, and it's a full lefty organization.
Right.
They have, I'd like to see that these rectal apertures get a colonoscopy, and the leadership, and find out how much, see how much they're making, see what kind of style that they're living. Because, they're taking it from the workers,
Of course, and the Democrats and the unions, corrupt relationship going way back. The Washington Times, one of the excellent newspapers in Washington, D.C., with their lead story today, under campaign 2024, Walz bucks nationwide movement by raising taxes. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Minnesota economy slips under governor. They should probably riot. They haven't been burning businesses down and looting in a long time. And besides, Walz's wife loves the smell of napalm in the morning. She loves the smell of burning businesses in Minneapolis. Other people's stuff on fire because liberals set it on fire. They're not liberals, right? They're definitely not liberals. But that's the Democrat Party. They love burning stuff and looting and attacking the police and burning and overturning police cars and shooting people. Don't they love shooting people? How many people do the Democrats shoot every year? Tens of thousands in the United States are shot by Democrats every year. Isn't that amazing? Tim Walz has overseen one of the country's most dramatic shifts toward higher taxes as Minnesota governor, including new levies on retail deliveries and workers' earnings. But now Kamala is against taxing tips because Trump is for it. And then the union, they said, do what we want. And she said, okay, because she does it for money. Is that what she does it for money? Is that the thing? What kind of a politician is that? Is that Is that a politician or what is that? Huh. Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. But when you're a Democrat, it's not really a problem. You can flip-flop, you can change. Remember, Barack Obama said, as a Christian, I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. And then the fundraising dried up from the gay fundraising branch. They like to call it a community. I don't think it's a neighborhood or anything. And then he said that he's entirely in favor of same-sex marriage because it was about donations, because they're, it's all a bunch of pimpy things. And then Kamala goes and meets with the union, and they say, we're in favor of the Trump position of no federal income taxes on tipped income. And then what kind of a politician is that?
You're a prostitute.
I see. That clarifies things then, doesn't it? All right, now let's get back to President Trump, because Kamala, she now said, she was in Nevada, of course, where the unions, wink, wink, have a line. It's not the rank and file, as Jim was saying. It's not the rank and file of the unions that are the problem. I'm actually a member of a union, and I've never been anti-union. I am anti-corruption. And what happens is, with all the money, the left has taken our gangsters, back in the 50s and the 40s even, and taken over the unions for the steady flow of money coming from the membership. And then you discover you can use that money to buy politicians, mostly Democrats, but not entirely. And you can buy politicians, and the Democrats, historically, now overwhelmingly it's Democrats and union bosses. It's the union bosses, the smoke-filled rooms, the back rooms. And the back room deals with the Democrats that may be vape-filled rooms. Now, but President Trump was out there with this. Let's go to President Trump back in June, on June 9th, President Trump.
This is the first time I've said this, and for those hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy, because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
See, now that is a pretty popular thing, and the culinary union got a hold of Kamala, and they said, why don't you just plagiarize Trump and steal his plan, and then we'll like you better. And it doesn't matter if you're lying to us and you have no intention of making this happen. They like to be lied. It's the union leadership, the union bosses, which becomes an awful lot like organized crime, especially when you get into the hot tub with the likes of Kamala Harris, and Willie Brown is nowhere to be found. Remarkable stuff. President Trump, that was back on June 9th. This is President Trump on June 22nd.
We will cut taxes for working families as part of our tax cuts that I've announced, and there will be no taxes on tips. No taxes on tip. Every time you leave a tip for the next 5 months, make sure to write on the receipt, vote Trump for no tax on tips.
Yes, right. Trump for no tax. And this actually, has been happening too, by the way. People writing on checks, no tax on tips. And it should get your vote. And, the Democrats are lying to you. And by the way, what you're left with, what they don't tax, what they don't take from you, the money that you're left with, everything costs 20-something% more than it did when Joe Biden was inaugurated, because the Democrats have made everything more expensive. President Trump, June 28th of this very year.
No taxes on tips. And when I announced that last week, my phone's lit up. I never saw anything like that. That was a very popular thing to announce.
It was a very popular thing, and it certainly was a very popular thing to announce. And I'm in favor of this. First of all, it's always been a very muddled situation. You're a tipped employee. Let's say you work at a very high-end steakhouse, in Washington. Let's say you work at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, nice steakhouse, and you make, 70% of your income is from tips, How do you declare that? Well, we go on the honor system. How much did you make in tips tonight and this week and last month and all year? Pay taxes on it, because you can't have regular withholding that you would have on a paycheck from a corporation, right? So how do you do that exactly? And you're taxing people, they didn't go to Harvard Law School, and you're finding ways to tax them. That's the Democrat Party. President Trump, great idea. He sat down with Maria Bartiromo on August 4th, and she asked him about this idea.
I also have no tax on tips. That's a big deal.
Are you going to make that an official line item in your economic plans?
Yes.
No tax on tips?
No tax on tips. Very simple.
Yeah, no tax on tips. Very, very simple. And then Kamala got into bed with the union because they wanted to buy her off, and she said, okay. Hospitality and service workers. She ever been a service worker? Said a worker with the service, to the service working, things like that. And now Kamala Harris had a bright idea.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Hospitality. What is hospitality? I'm not sure I know what hospitality is, but that's pretty remarkable. And then she sits down with the unions, and she thinks that Donald Trump's idea is the greatest idea ever. And suddenly it's her idea because, just Joe Biden, famous for being a plagiarist, and it hasn't hurt him. He became the president of the United States while brain dead, which is pretty good. That brain of his is she's a no good. She's a no good. That'll remind me. That's Italia. That's Italia, where Timo was here serving the National Guard in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, and then you go to dinner and you get some nice pasta and maybe a rosé, maybe a nice red wine. Isn't that nice? Now let's go to Kamala, who lies about everything. On last week, she was having a rally, probably with bust-in union members wearing matching T-shirts and stuff, which they do a lot of. It's a lot like North Korea everywhere the Democrat Party goes. But Kamala last week, they love abortion, don't they? They just think abortion is the greatest thing. I think it's because of the organs. They like the organs. They harvest the organs. And I think they use some of them for floss, for dental floss. And, make badminton rackets and things like that. But Kamala last week, with another big lie. She lies all the time.
We who believe in reproductive freedom will fight for a woman's right to choose. And if he wins, we all know he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every state. When I am president of the United States and when Congress passes a bill to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade, I will sign it into law.
Yeah, well, they've had opportunity after the Obama administration had the opportunity to do that again and again. They controlled the House and the Senate and the White House, and they could have passed that law. They didn't. She said President Trump will pass. We all know. She says, wait, she's a moron and a liar and a criminal. I think a criminal too. We all know that he will sign a national abortion ban and outlaw abortion in every state, she said. Now, President Trump sat down with Jordan Peterson, the professor and thinker Jordan Peterson, and one of the topics that came up was abortion. What did President Trump say about that?
Are you going to do a national abortion ban? Would you support that, yes or no?
So I don't need a national ban because it's up to the states. Like Ronald Reagan, I'm a believer in the exceptions, the 3 exceptions, as you know. And rape, incest, life of the mother. It was always fought, and very importantly, and people wanted it, they wanted it back in the states where it belongs legally and for a lot of other reasons.
So you wouldn't support a national ban?
No, I wouldn't support a national ban. No, I would not.
But Kamala just said that everybody knows. She said we all know that he would sign a national abortion ban. But that's not what he said, and he's been asked about it repeatedly because he's a Republican and not a Democrat. And And he's given the same answer every time, and it's made a lot of conservative and pro-life conservatives unhappy, his answer. But that's the answer that he's given. And then Kamala lies, and the crowd cheers, and then they pour gasoline all over themselves and self-immolate, which is pretty funny, I've got to say.
And if he wins, we all know he will sign a national abortion ban.
Yeah, we all know. How do you know that? Isn't that amazing? But what did he actually say about it?
So you wouldn't support a national ban?
No, I wouldn't support a national ban. No, I would not.
That seems pretty clear. That's pretty darn clear. No, he said no twice. And regardless of how you feel about that, first of all, politically, it's not a national abortion ban. He's talked about 15 weeks, and they go limiting abortion to 15 weeks. That's not a ban. It's a limit of 15 weeks. And it would put us, most Western European countries have maybe 14 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, and where you can get an abortion. 12 weeks is 3 months for Democrats trying to follow along at home. Isn't that amazing? So we got that going for us. Yes, sir. You're a Democrat Party. Kamala also, she, while vice president, November 18th of 2021, Kamala on how they're going to fix everything. They're going to make the economy better, which they've failed tragically to do.
Cost of groceries has gone up. The cost of gas has gone up. It's one of the highest priorities, actually, for the president and for me.
Yeah. Well, if these are your highest priorities, what sort of job performance are we talking about here? Isn't that amazing? And inflation, when President Trump, his last year in office, 1.2% inflation. On Inauguration Day, weeks after Election Day, of course, inflation was up to 1.4%. Then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris drove it up to 9.1%. 9.1%. Now it's back down to about 3%, which is still more than twice the inflation rate on Inauguration Day. And Kamala in July of 2022.
Fighting inflation is one of our administration's top economic priorities.
It's one of our top priority. It's a singular thing, isn't that amazing? She's just mangling words all over the place. She's not good at this English language stuff, is she? And in November of 2023, last year.
For many Americans, prices are still too high.
You think? You think prices are still too high? See, the economic legacy under President Trump, wage growth was plus 6.8%, 6.84%. Under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, wage growth has actually been negative, minus 1.93%, down almost 2%. Under President Trump, up almost 7%. An increase in prices under Biden and Kamala, 19.25%. And depends on what you're looking at, food and groceries and stuff, more than that, more than 20%. They're a disaster. There's war everywhere. We're waiting for Iran to attack Israel again. Hezbollah is already attacking Israel. The choke point going into the Red Sea and the Suez Canal is a nightmare because of the Houthi rebels funded by Iran, and Iran funded by Biden and Obama. They're not on our side. There is war everywhere. Our borders are open. Gangs, crime. In D.C., 26-year high in homicides last year. Record high carjackings. They're making everything better. Looting is now normal. I'm telling you. You may have noticed that the financial world has changed a lot. It might be time to consider how you're going to adapt. We just saw a seismic shift in the global financial world when Saudi Arabia declared that they may exit the petrodollar system, which for 75 years has helped to maintain the U.S.'s dollar as the world reserve currency. But that era may now be coming to an end under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. because of what Saudi Arabia is talking about. In times of major economic transition, a lot of investors look to diversify with what we call tangible assets like gold. Gold, with its history as a safe harbor in tumultuous times, may become the go-to option for investors looking for growth potential and stability. That's why I recommend calling Advantage Gold. At Advantage Gold, they're the experts in precious metals. They can help guide you through these difficult and tumultuous times. Give them a call today at 844-368-9797. You're going to get a 100% free 2024 gold and silver guide. Plus, mention this ad, and you may qualify for a $1,300 bonus, a $1,300 bonus. The financial landscape has already changed. It's on fire, let's be honest. Make sure that you're prepared. Write this number down now, 844-368-9797, 844-368-9797. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Yes, sir. Yeah, Kamala. Now, if we had a news media, Kamala would be having a bad time. But instead, we've got a gang of, closely shorn, lubricated fluffers posing as journalists. We call them reporters, but they're not.
Because Bidenomics is working. It's working.
Yeah, Time Magazine with their cover story out today, and their headline story, their cover front page, The Reintroduction of Kamala Harris by Democrat fluffer Charlotte Alter. And it couldn't be more of a tongue bath. It was embarrassing. I was reading it aloud to Michael, and he was embarrassed that I was reading it to him. The soundtrack suggested a Beyoncé concert. The light-up bracelets evoked the Eras Tour. The exuberant crowd of more than 14,000 standing in the rain couldn't be more excited. It's Beyoncé, it's Taylor Swift, it's Barack Obama all over again.